The one-arm push-up is a favorite among legends. Rocky Balboa, Goku, Bruce Lee, need I say more? But it's also much more than that, because the one-arm push-up also happens to be one of the most powerful bodyweight exercises with the most functional carryover there is. That's once you can do it properly, and that's where things get a little bit tricky, because the one-arm push-up, unlocking it is just the first step on this journey. There's a lot more nuance and a lot more to master when it comes to this movement. So in this video, I'm going to talk about not only how to perform your first one-armed push-up, we're going to talk about why you should do it and why it's so beneficial, and we're going to discuss the small changes to your technique that'll help you to get the very most out of it. Okay, so that's enough blabbing. Time to actually do a one-arm push-up. So this is what it's going to look like essentially. So whilst it's ostensibly a simple move, there are a few things to note if you're going to do this correctly. The first thing is you need full range of motion. That means the chest is coming all the way down to the ground and back up. You're not resting on the ground, but you want your nipple to touch the floor if you're topless, which you should be if you're doing it correctly. You've heard of ass to grass, this is nipples to grass. Anything less than that is not full range of motion, it's not a full rep. And whilst I'm not a stickler for that, obviously if you want to do shorter reps, that's fine too. If you want to do it technically correctly, then you do need to go all the way down to the ground. You'll also notice that I'm keeping my elbow quite close to my body. You don't want the elbow to flare out like this, rather keep it nicely tucked by your side, even more so than you would do for a regular push-up. You want to depress the scapula, so shoulders down, the opposite of shrugging. This is probably the hardest thing to do throughout the movement. It's also good if you can control the scapular protraction and retraction, so that at the top of the movement, you're protracting the scapula and straightening the arm as much as possible. Again, these are just if you want to make sure you're doing the absolutely correct technique. If you really want to do it properly, don't hold onto your leg or your back. Again, this is kind of cheating because it does make the movement slightly easier. It makes the anti-rotation portion of the movement slightly easier. If you want to focus more on chest strength, on shoulder strength, triceps, then you can use that to support your torso and thereby make this slightly more of an isolated movement. But if you want to do it really properly and if you want to challenge that rotational strength, that anti-rotational strength, keeping your torso straight forwards, then you want to keep the arm free. I tend to keep it on my body just because it makes a marginal difference and it's actually just more comfortable to hold onto your leg or put it behind your back or something. If you want to get yourself into the most mechanically advantageous position possible, then as you bring yourself down towards the ground, slightly internally rotate the hand, turn it inwards, and this will give you a kind of corkscrew effect and help you to generate just that little bit more power from there. Similarly, consider to what extent you want to splay the legs apart. By widening your stance, you again spread your weight more and have less of a rotational force to battle against, allowing you to train harder on the pecs and perhaps pump out extra repetitions. But if you want to do it really properly and if you want to challenge yourself more, then bring your legs nice and close together. Again, when you see Bruce Lee do this, his legs are almost touching each other, which makes it even more incredible. Of course, he's also doing it on just a finger and a thumb, which is awesome. One-armed push-ups are undoubtedly one of the most badass looking exercises going. But if you really want to look like a badass, then you also need to think about your skincare. That's why I'm excited to introduce today's sponsor, Tiege Hanley. Tiege Hanley have helped me to start and maintain my own skincare routine, and they provide everything that a guy could possibly need to look and feel great. Basically, you get a selection of different products along with some really easy and simple to follow instructions that show you when and how to apply each product. They have over 5,000 5-star reviews from customers all around the world, so clearly they're doing something right. I recommend starting with their level 1 system, which comes with all the basics. A daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and grime on your skin, a 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of dead skin cells, an AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun, and a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. As well as getting amazing skin, members of Tiege Hanley also get lots of other benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price, the ability to customize their box exclusive monthly deals, and the option to pause or cancel at any time, and free US shipping, and low cost shipping to most other countries. And because Tiege Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers a great deal. Just click the first link in the description and you'll get 30% off your first box plus a free gift. Don't miss out on this amazing deal. Click that link and get started today. So why one-arm push-ups? What's so good about them? Well, to start with, It is a really cool move, and that's not a small thing, because cool moves are cool, and working towards a really awesome move is really motivating for a lot of people. And the great thing about the one-arm push-up is that whilst it looks superhuman, it's actually attainable. Unlike things like the planche or a handstand push-up, which are going to take you months, if not years of training to develop the core strength, the straight arm strength, the body control, the one-arm push-up, while difficult, is a much more achievable goal and a great thing to work towards. And it's this difficulty level that actually makes it perfect, because once you learn the one-arm push-up, you're essentially making regular push-ups far, far more difficult. If you can perform 30 one-arm push-ups, then you're crazy strong. So if you're currently doing hundreds of push-up repetitions and not getting a lot out of them, then learning the one-arm push-up is a great way to make things more difficult for yourself and turn your body into a walking gym. Now you can adequately train the chest, the shoulders, the triceps, the core, no matter where you are with no equipment. If you can perform 10, that's really, really good. So now you're in the rep range that you need for building muscle, creating strength. But that core strength is where things get really interesting, because the one-arm push-up isn't just an exercise that targets the chest, the shoulders and the triceps. It's a movement that targets the core. And in particular, it's an anti-rotational movement, meaning you're trying to prevent your body from twisting down to the ground by bracing the core. This is really important because you're training yourself in the transverse plane, the rotational plane that I always talk about, that's so important and that's so overlooked. For athletes, the rotational plane is absolutely essential. Throwing a punch, walking, running, throwing a ball, all of these are things that require rotation of the core. If you're not training this at all, then you're missing out. And actually, this might have been one of the big secrets to Bruce Lee's incredible athleticism. If you watch him move, his entire torso moves at once. That means that when he's punching, he's not wasting, he's not losing energy, there are no energy leaks. And we know that he was a guy who performed lots of one-armed push-ups. And it also strengthens that connection between the shoulder and the opposite hip, which again is essential for so many movements like running, etc. For wrestlers, for martial artists, for athletes, this is essential training, and for everybody else, because you rotate whenever you push anything or pull anything. It's not normal to keep your body rigid, so it doesn't make any sense that we only ever train in the sagittal plane. So if you like the idea of learning one-arm push-up but you don't know how to go about it, where do you start? What exercises can help you? Well, of course, you want to master your push-ups, do as many push-ups as you can. It's also a great idea to strengthen yourself in the rotational plane. So doing things like woodcutters or even one-armed cable press can be a great way to build that strength. You can also do this with a band. At the same time, you can use movements like the archer push-up. Here you're going to be in the regular push-up position, but you're going to go down more on one side, using the other arm only to support you a little bit. So this will build up that strength. You can also try incline one-armed push-up, so doing a one-arm push-up against a raised surface, such as doing it on a weight bench, makes it a little bit easier. And that's probably one of the most useful ones, because there you're training the whole movement pattern. You're not only training yourself to be strong on that one side, but you're also fighting that rotational force just to a slightly lesser degree. And if you do that and combine it with those other three movements, then you'll master that one-arm push-up in no time at all. You can also use the elevated incline one-armed push-up to get all those same benefits that you would do normally when doing a one-arm push-up if you can't do the full thing. Or you can also use it as a mechanical drop set. So do as many one-armed push-ups as you can, then move on to an incline and continue to do those one-armed push-ups. Of course, if you want to make the movement more difficult, then there are also tons of options. A great option is a decline one-armed push-up, of course. This basically makes the angle steeper, puts more pressure on the pecs and the triceps. Doesn't really make the rotational aspects any harder. In fact, it might make it slightly easier. But in terms of pure shoulder training, this is a great way to increase the difficulty. My shoulder definitely elevated a little bit there. Got some stuff to work on still. Another good option is the clapping one-arm push-up, which is more of a showboat move, but it's also a great one for building explosive power. And now you also have to brace that core as you land, which adds an additional challenge to it as well. Or of course, you can just add a weight vest, which is another way to make it more difficult too, or remove fingers like Bruce Lee. And one more option that's fantastic, and this is a way that you can make any exercise more challenging and highly valuable, is the quasi-isometric one-armed push-up. What you're going to do here is you're just going to perform the repetition really, really slowly. You're aiming to get to the point where it takes you a whole minute or even 2 minutes to perform one repetition. This requires so much isometric strength, so much bracing, so much control and precision, and it's just a brilliant way to build up to the movement. This is also a great way to get stronger by practicing the one-arm push-up in an inclined manner, but by going very slowly, you'll build that isometric strength that you need. So thanks a ton for watching, you guys. I hope you found this one useful and interesting. If you want a training program that takes movements like this, that focus on more than just aesthetics and your numbers on a few big lifts, but actually improve functional performance, then you might enjoy my ebook and training program, Super Functional Training 2.0, the Protein Performance System. That comes with over 2 hours of video tutorials, a full ebook over 80 pages long, and actually includes the one arm push-up, as well as many other similar movements and progressions that make it easier and harder for any level. I'll leave a link to that in the description down below. Either way, thank you so much for watching this one, guys, and I'll see you next time. Fun fact, I literally don't know where I am. I don't know the way back to my car. As Christoph sang, I am lost in the woods. So wish me luck, and bye for now.